Before we begin, go ahead and subscribe to History Monuments because, honestly, the technique you are about to hear explains why wooden structures in storm-lashed regions survived centuries of wind, rain and salt, while, well, many modern builds fail within decades. Storms have always been the ultimate test of wood. Wind flexes beams, rain drives moisture deep into grain, and repeated wet-dry cycles, they tear fibres apart. Medieval builders, Viking shipwrights, and coastal carpenters understood this reality far better than most modern construction manuals. They did not rely on thicker timbers alone. Instead, they relied on a specific preparation method that allowed wood to bend, shed water, and resist decay even after countless storms. This was not a single product or coating, but a system that worked with the nature of wood rather than trying to overpower it. Ancient builders focused on flexibility because, well, rigid wood fails first in storms. The central insight was simple, but, quite profound. Storms destroy wood not by breaking it immediately, but by exhausting it. Rigid, sealed timber cracks under repeated stress, allowing water inside. Once trapped, rot organisms thrive, and structural strength, well, it just collapses from within. Historic builders accepted movement as inevitable. Their goal was to make wood resilient, not stiff. Surviving medieval bridges, Nordic boathouses, and timber-framed halls show joinery and treatment methods designed to flex without tearing fibres apart. The trick relied on deep saturation rather than surface protection. The method that kept wood strong after dozens, even hundreds, of storms was deep oil and resin saturation combined with controlled heat treatment. Rather than applying a thin outer shell, builders altered the internal structure of the wood. Freshly cut or well-seasoned timber was warmed, sometimes over open fires or in smoke-filled structures. This heat drove out internal moisture and expanded pores. While the wood was still warm, natural oils, animal fats or pine tar were applied generously. The warmth allowed these substances to penetrate deeply instead of sitting on the surface. Once absorbed, the oils replaced water inside the wood. This reduced swelling during rain and shrinkage during drying, the very cycle that causes cracking and failure in storms. Many historic buildings were not just treated once. They were maintained through daily life. Central hearths filled halls with smoke that deposited protective compounds over years and decades. These compounds were mildly acidic and antifungal, reinforcing earlier treatments. This is why beams in medieval roofs often remain sound even when exposed to leaks for generations. The wood had been slowly cured and preserved from the inside out. Joinery, you see, worked with the treatment to survive extreme weather. Mortise and tenon joints, pegged connections and scarf joints absorbed stress instead of resisting it. Treated wood fibres bent without snapping, and joints tightened under load rather than loosening. Storm after storm, this combination prevented catastrophic failure. When damage occurred, it was localized and repairable, not structural collapse. This approach is still usable for anyone working with wood exposed to harsh weather. Begin by selecting untreated lumber. Allow it to dry properly, avoiding kiln-dried wood if possible, as extreme drying collapses pores. To start, you'll want to warm the wood gently, using, sunlight, a heated space, or even a controlled flame, just kept at a safe distance. The idea here is warmth, not charring, so take care not to overdo it. Next, apply natural oils such as raw linseed oil, tung oil, or say pine tar blends while the wood is still warm. Pay special attention to the end grain and the joints, since these spots tend to soak up water the fastest. Now let the oil soak in fully. It's best to repeat applications over several days rather than just flooding the surface all at once. For structures exposed to the elements, a periodic reapplication every few years will help maintain that internal saturation, and you won't need to strip away the old layers. This approach is especially effective for things like fences, sheds, docks, pergolas, wooden gates and beams that face storms, places where, honestly, modern sealants often crack and let you down. Modern products promise durability through hardness. They form films that resist water briefly but fail under movement. Once cracked, they trap moisture inside, accelerating decay. Ancient methods avoided this trap by never sealing wood completely. The goal was balance. Water could enter slowly, but it could also leave just as easily. Fungi could not thrive because oils and resins disrupted their growth, even in damp conditions. Archaeological timbers pulled from coastal soils, shipwrecks and storm-battered structures consistently show oil and resin residues deep within the grain. These timbers often remain flexible centuries later, a trait rarely seen in modern treated wood. This is not coincidence. It is, honestly, the result of a system refined through repeated exposure to storms far more violent than most structures face today. The real trick was not a secret ingredient. It was, respect for wood as a living material even after the tree was felled. Builders accepted maintenance, movement, and gradual aging as part of strength rather than signs of failure. Structures survived storms not because they resisted nature, but because, they adapted to it. If this kind of historically grounded knowledge helps you understand why ancient structures endured where modern ones struggle, subscribe to History Monuments and share this guide with others who value techniques proven by centuries of storms rather than short-term solutions.